Welcome to the podcast. Súbele volumen. Conversation with the people who were with me. In the world TV. Carlos tonight. Historias de un reportero. Carlos tonight. Dale que viene lo bueno.
Hey everybody, welcome to Carlos Tonight. I'm serving up a great episode for you this week. But before we get things started, I want to invite you to check out carlostonight.com. That's where you can find more information about the show, see upcoming guests, and check out past episodes. That's carlostonight.com. All right, I'm so excited to introduce to you my guest this week. His name is Chef Raymond Li. He is the owner of Li's Dim Sum and More, a place I promise to visit this summer when I'm in town. He is based in Miami, Florida. Chef Li, how's it going? How you been?
Hey Carlos, how are you? Everything's been going good. It's definitely been a up and down hill battle, especially with the labor shortage that we've had here in Miami and in Florida the past few months. But we gotta keep them going. So yeah, everything is going great. Besides that, how are you?
I'm doing good. And you just finished a run, you said, right?
Yeah, sorry, I don't have no shirt. I just finished jogging, was getting some sun as well. It's a beautiful day over here in Miami today. Yesterday was very, very cloudy and rainy for Father's Day. So I'm just taking advantage of the sun that we have today.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks again for being here. I do appreciate your time. Chef Li, you have an amazing story that starts at home. Your dad is Cuban and Chinese, and your mom is Colombian. How did those cultures influence the man you are today?
Well, a lot of it especially influenced my cuisine. I basically, with the time and with the experience and being in different kitchens and watching different styles, basically, I was able to create and come into, how can I say, into connection with my culture and how to connect it with what I was doing. So basically, a lot of whenever you do come to the restaurant, you will notice that things on the menu, I mix a lot of Asian ingredients with Colombian or Cuban, you know. Like one of my favorite fruits is passion fruit, which is very big in Colombia. Growing up, my mom would send me every single summer, me and my brother, to Colombia to get to know the cultures, learn Spanish, and tomar jugo de maracuyá, jugo de tomate de árbol. So you'll notice a lot in my cuisine. I have some weird mixes. Well, I say weird because it's different, but they go together really well. But yeah, you'll notice a lot of the mixes in my cultures and in my cuisine.
What part of Colombia?
My mom is de Barranquilla.
Oh, okay. My dad, I was born in Cali. My mom is from Cali and my dad is from Barranquilla.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So when it comes to mom and dad's cooking, I feel that sometimes one outshines the other. In my household, it's my dad who does all the cooking, and everyone in the family looks forward to his cooking. What about your family?
Well, yeah, it was the same. My dad was the one mostly doing all the cooking for the most part. My mom would just, she knows how to do, well, she tells everybody she doesn't know how to cook.
Yeah.
But that I know that's, growing up, that was not the case, because I remember her making, one of the only things she'll make for us is this pollo guisado, very traditional with potatoes and tomatoes and I never forget, And honestly, that's a dish that the day of tomorrow, I would love to have a version on the menu,
Mm-hmm.
just for something for my mom. But yeah, my dad was mostly always the cook, the chef at the house. He would love to do dinner parties. Growing up, for Christmas, we would do the whole pig.
Mm-hmm.
That I remember growing up, I had a trauma because I think I was like 8 or 7 or 8, and they took me to the finca, and I chose the pig apparently that we were gonna have for dinner, and I didn't know. I chose the pig, and the next thing he got shot in the head, and and I saw that, and
Oh my
I was
gosh.
trauma. I didn't want to eat pork for like a few years, but
Oh
I
my
got over
gosh.
that, and I love pork. And but yeah, my dad was mostly the chef in the house, and that would love to cook. It's like a peace of
Hmm.
mind for him.
Hmm. And speaking of when you were a kid, tell me about the first dish you ever remember tasting that kind of influenced your or gave you an appreciation for food.
I would say, yeah, the first dish maybe this picadillo. Well, there's many dishes, but my dad will make this like Chinese style, like picadillo, but with oyster sauce. And it's something growing up that I would love because it was sweet, it was salty, with the rice. Definitely that's a dish that's always been on my mind, and for sure opened up the doors into cuisine for me as far as flavor, because it had so
Hmm.
many different flavors, but it was still one flavor. I don't know if you understand. It's like you could taste the different notes of things, but it all came together very well. So you only really tasted one, but you tasted different.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Chef Lee, I'm curious to know if you remember the first dish you ever prepared all by
First,
yourself, and can you describe that feel of accomplishment
first dish I ever prepared by myself, as a chef or in general.
in general?
In general, yeah. In general, I think the first dish I ever did was maybe arroz con huevo
Oh wow, okay.
with ketchup. I did like with scallions and ketchup. Growing up, that was my favorite snack, and it was a quick to go snack. My dad showed me how to cook some eggs,
Hmm.
and usually there was rice made, so all I had to do was heat it up. But yeah, that was probably my first dish I ever made was arroz con huevo with scallions and ketchup.
And do you still make it today?
Well, I make it, but a little more elevated. But yes, I still make that dish. It's
Cool.
actually one of my snacks in the kitchen. It's something I love to eat. It's rice in the kitchen. Is rice with XO sauce and scallions and red vinegar soy. And it's something I love eating. That it's
Wow,
one of my
you're
snacks in the
making me
kitchen.
hungry. So recently, you posted a quote from Van Gogh on social media that said, "I dream my painting and I paint my dream," which totally blew my mind. That message is very powerful. What does it mean to you?
It's very powerful because I believe things come into fruition before they come into fruition. It's become it's something that it's an idea in your mind, it's a thought, is an image. And when I read that quote, I really 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 connected with Van Gogh. And what's funny is, coming up as a chef, that was my thing. They will call me the kitchen Van Gogh. So it's funny,
Yeah,
when I read that quote, I was like, wow, that there is the connection right there. Because a lot of these dishes that I create are all ideas. you know so I basically dream my painting, and then I make these ideas become reality. you
right.
know so then I dream my painting, and then I paint my dream. So definitely that's what I do every single day. When it comes to cooking, is I think of ideas, things that maybe have not been mixed together, or maybe have but differently, and I just create. But it
Yeah.
all comes from an idea. Everything has to be conceived in the mind before it is conceived in reality. That's what I've learned coming up, and is a strong thought, and is a strong way of thinking that I have.
That's beautiful. I like that. I remember at a young age my parents teaching me some basic things to cook. And I know you're a dad. At what age do you think we should be teaching our kids about things in the kitchen?
Honestly, I think maybe, like, now I'm already showing my son a few things. He still won't understand it, but yeah, I think maybe between the age of 4 through 6. It
Hmm.
depends really on the kid. But I think, like, now my son is talking, he's responding to things. There's sometimes I don't understand what he's saying,
Yeah.
but yeah, I know for a fact next year his speech will be way better. He will have the full complete sentences. And I know for a fact when that starts, he's already picking up little pots here and there, like playing around. And he lives with his mom, and he's not, I pick him up a few 3 to 4 times a week, but he hasn't came. He's been a few times with me to the restaurant, but he hasn't been there seeing Daddy cook. So it's amazing how he picks up these pots and like a spatula, and he starts like turning it like if he's cooking. It's like, wow. It's
Yeah.
like it's in his DNA. But I think around that age is like the perfect age, 5, 6, to start showing them at least few little things.
See.
As far, especially like showing them the difference between like whole food and these all these junk food that they have. One
Right.
big chef that I've always followed and I respect a lot is Jamie Oliver, because he's been on that showing, he's been against fighting against kid little
Obesity.
children obesity. Yes,
Hmm.
obesity. And he's been teaching over 10 years, showing people to show their kids how to cook little simple things at home, which my dad actually taught me how to do growing up. He would leave
See.
us the things cut, and he just showed me the process. And we didn't have to cut nothing, we just had to put it together on a pot and pan and add a little sauce. So with that, I was able to learn. But I really believe it's very important that we teach our kids at least a few recipes, so for survival skills, and as well so they don't eat towards the junk food, and they want to have a snack. It's better that they take 5 minutes to make it than they just get a processed packaged item and just eat it. That, yeah, it might taste good, but in the long run it's not good at all.
Right. I'm talking with Chef Raymond Li, owner of Lee's Dim Sum and More, a popular pop up in Coral Gables, in the community of Coral Gables in Miami, Florida. Chef Lee, what led you to the kitchen?
Well, like I say, it's a very long story, but like I tell a lot of people, the kitchen saved my life. I found refuge in the kitchen. Basically, growing up, I got into a lot of trouble
Hmm.
being a cuckoo here in Miami, Florida. Basically, the kitchen was my last hope, I guess you could say, in that sense. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me. As you can tell now, my life is just the kitchen. Uh, but yeah, definitely it was a long way getting here, and basically I found refuge. I have 4 felonies, and it's something that's in my past, 12 years ago. Uh, and I tell everybody that's kind of what made me who I am today. If I didn't go through those things I went through in the past, I wouldn't be the person I am today or have this mentality. So the kitchen saved my life
So
breaking up.
during that dark period in your life, what was going through your mind, and did you ever imagine there would be a light at the end of the tunnel?
A lot of things were going into my mind. I would think about my parents, of my upbringing, of the job that they've done. You know, as a kid, I always knew I was gonna be something, like someone in this world, like someone of some type of importance. I guess now with the food, I've been able to get on the stage, but absolutely, yeah. Uh, I it was it was a lot of thoughts. The doors were closed. They were all closed. No one wanted to open the door for me. It was me knocking at many doors, and finally there was one door that opened, and from there I just took that opportunity and gave it a 10,000%. And through there is where I started cooking. And that job was basically, it wasn't my first job, but it was my job. So when I was released from prison, my mother got sick.
Hmm.
She got very, very sick. She almost died due to liver disease. She's
Hmm.
still fighting today.
Hmm.
She's way better today.
Hmm.
But during that time, I couldn't work. I couldn't do nothing. So after my mom she moved to Colombia to have support from her family, and then we moved. When she moved back, because there was one day she was in the hospital and they didn't have no beds. She was on the floor. That's when I kind of told her mom, like, what are we doing? You're on the floor right now. So that kind of woke her up, and she moved back. And then I got a job as a busser at this place It was a kid's place that had a restaurant, and then that's where everything started. I gave 10,000%. I read a lot after I was released to condition my mind. There was a purpose, I knew there was something else. I knew it wasn't the end, but I just didn't know. I didn't know where I was gonna go. So it was a lot of soul searching during that time. I was also had some dark times also after, because I was suicidal during those times, because no one wanted to give me a shot. No one wanted to give me a job. The dollar store, the dry cleaner, Publix,
Nobody.
no one wanted to give me a shot. So when I did get the shot at this place, I knew for a fact that this was a blessing in disguise, and I couldn't just take it lightly. So I dedicated myself to do the job at the maximum.
What do you think got you out of that situation in that part of your life?
What was that? The first part?
What do you think got you out of that situation or that part of your life? Um,
I
you
think it
said
was
after you got out of prison and you were going through all these challenges, what got you through everything? Faith?
faith. That's the biggest thing. The belief in the higher power. I was very during those times. It was a everyday. I was very, very, very into prayer during those
Same.
times. I'm still into prayer now, but during those times, all I could do was basically look towards, above.
Hmm.
No one. I knew at that moment, no one in this world could help me. I had to help myself. So I had to dig deep inside and see and find what was inside of me, the gold, and basically get it and bring it out and show the
Right.
world.
Hmm.
And but definitely it was a lot of faith. It was a lot of faith. It was all faith.
Yeah.
Honestly, everything has been faith for me.
So after you found your calling, and after various jobs, you were ready to take on, or you're ready to go on to the next level, and then the pandemic hit. What happened next?
Oh, the pandemic hit. Things were going great before the pandemic. I was gonna open my first restaurant in Bogota, Colombia, with big chef from Colombia, Juan Manuel.
Oh, okay.
Uh, uh, I also was a part of his team in El Cielo, DC. They just recently got the Michelin star, which is amazing for them. It's the first Colombian restaurant with the Michelin star serving Colombian gastronomy. But yeah, during the pandemic, I got to a point where all the restaurants were shut down, and at the moment, I didn't, I was on furlough and didn't really have a job. I was looking kind of, no one really knew what was gonna happen. So it was another point in my life where I had to dig deep again inside. Like, it was another digging time, and I had to basically dig inside, and basically I've heard from many different other chefs were telling me, and friends were like, hey, you've been able to create some type of brand for yourself, some type of name. I think it's time for you to start flying by yourself. And it was a challenge. Honestly, it was another leap of faith, especially that I didn't have the funds to be able to how can I say, to be able to do, I didn't think I had enough funds to be able to do this. And with the little funds I've had, I've been able to maneuver around, and thankfully I've been able to make money to be able to put it back into the business. And little by little, eventually this will be, I'll have multiple restaurants. This is just for the moment a pop-up that
Right.
I'm trying out to produce numbers, and I see the demand is there.
It's
It's been
amazing.
very tough, and yes, it's very amazing, and I'm very grateful for the response I've gotten from the community. But it's like I tell everybody, it's a lot of hard work, and it's not for, it takes a certain type of individual with certain type of skill sets to be able to overcome all these obstacles that life throws at you and that you encounter coming along the way.
Right. Did you ever imagine you'd create a place getting so much attention?
Honestly, no, and honestly, I never imagined I would be able to. I never in my life thought I was gonna cook Chinese, Asian food in
Mhm.
general, or Chinese food or dim sum. I never imagined that in my life, and I guess, like they say, the blood calls, So my grandfather was was a chef, but he was an entrepreneur as well. He was
Hmm.
Chinese, and he had different markets in Cuba. And his brothers were the dim sum chefs, and they were all certified by the Republic of China for being dim sum masters. These are things that I didn't know growing up. I just found out about these things a few years ago when I spoke with an uncle who I've never met. So and I started to learn more about my family, especially the Chinese side, because it's been very, growing up, I knew about my mom's side, but I didn't know too much about my family side, my
Hmm.
parents, my father's side, sorry. And that was with the Chinese, and I have a lot of strong culture coming from that angle. So, when I fell into Palmar, which was in 2018, they're basically, I had the last name. I've eaten Chinese food. I know the traditional flavors. I just wasn't making it. So I had to basically tap into my culture and to my ancestry in that sense and learn.
Hmm.
But it was amazing to me is how fast I picked it up.
Hmm.
So that's why I say like the blood calls, like your calling sometimes is gonna speak louder than all the noises on the outside. You just have to be listening.
Right. So besides the food, what's other things that has people coming to your place week after week?
Besides the food is just how can I say is getting to know people. A lot of people come in and they want to get to know me. They want to understand like how did I reach this point of my life. I was able to turn my life around. It's been a long road. Like I tell everybody, it's according to statistics, felons return to prison. I don't know. I think it's over 70% they return. And I'll never forget this point where I was getting transferred from the jail to prison, and one of the correctional officers told me, "Hey, I hope you come back."
What?
That really, and I looked at him like, "What?" Like it
Yeah.
really touched me. He said, "Yeah, because I need my job." And then they tell you these things that you want to tell them something, but at that point you're already been seasoned that not to listen. It just goes
Yeah.
in. You don't let that get to you because you see the final picture. But yeah, it's it takes a certain type of people come to the restaurant to get to they will want to know the guy behind the food as well.
Right. And you're cooking with your dad, right?
So currently, my dad is older and he's old school, very tough to deal with. So he's came to the restaurant a few times, but he likes to prepare more of the things privately. So I'm trying to get him out of the. He has a little kitchen set up in his apartment, and that's where he's doing it. But he's come to the restaurant, prepared a couple things. But yeah, he likes to be private, and he's hard to deal. My father is a great guy, but he's older and he's a little hard to deal with. But now at this point in my life, I already got to know how to
Yeah.
to handle the situation.
Is there a lot of pressure on you knowing that you're working with family or you're opening your own place,
There's a lot.
managing
There
your own
is
place?
there is a lot of pressure with that. There is a lot of pressure because I have an amazing opportunity in hand. Uh, I have a product, and I would love to see more of my family get involved, but unfortunately, the situations and the circumstances, there's a reason why I'm the one. So I'm just taking the ball and running with it.
So, after everything you've been through, how proud do you think your parents and your son is of you?
I believe my parents are super proud of me. I know for a fact I still have a few more other things to do that will make them even more prouder. And I know for a fact they're gonna happen in the next couple of years. But I know they're super proud. I know I've given them life in the sense of, especially my father, in the sense of bringing him in and making a business with him. Getting him involved. He was retired, doing nothing at home, just getting older. I basically gave him something to do that he looks forward to every single day. Uh, and also, my dad is like we have different work schedules. I'm in the daytime, and he likes to work overnight, amazingly.
Oh
So he
wow.
likes, yeah. So he'll work overnight, And that's the other thing why it's kind of tough sometimes working with my dad because he likes to work overnight, and I'm more of the morning guy, and he's
Mhm.
more of the overnight guy now. He was always a morning guy, but now he likes to work overnight, and hey, if he's happy, I'm happy, so
Yeah.
it's fine. So,
Very
but yeah,
cool.
it's a lot of tough. It's a lot of pressure.
Awesome. Well, I'm proud of you, and whether you know it or not, you're an inspiration to us all.
Thank you, Carlos. I appreciate it.
This is Carlos tonight with my very special guest this week, Chef Raymond Li, who is based in Miami, Florida. He owns Li's Dim Sum and More, a popular pop up in the Coral Gables community. First and foremost, how would you describe a pop up?
So a pop-up, I'll describe it as basically a temporary restaurant, maybe taking over a temporary space, you know? So basically, I'm based inside of MKT Kitchen in Coral Gables, and they're a cafe breakfast sandwich shop, you know? So it's a pop-up is like something like that. It's like at nighttime, it just changes. This cafe has dim sum, so it's basically a temporary restaurant with the concept behind that they're basically piloting. They have it on pilot to see and to collect information, and all that
Got it.
information you use to be able to open a restaurant, to get investments, et cetera, et cetera.
Got it. Okay. So let's talk about what's on the menu and then the process of deciding what goes on the menu.
So on the menu we have four types of shumais at the menu. We have a vegan shumai made with it's a Shanghai shumai, which you don't see here on the East Coast too much. It's basically a shumai, which is an open faced dumpling, but it's instead of stuffed just with meat, with a filling of meat, it has a glutinous rice, and then this one has fermented vegetables. So we have that. We have the traditional pork and shrimp shumais. Uh, I have a shrimp and black truffle pot sticker that was very popular during the pandemic. Uh, we started doing the Xiaolong baos, which is the famous soup dumplings, which have been a hit and have been in every single or every like 98% of the orders have one of those in their order for sure. I have my koji char siu ribs. We have my Shanghai noodles and a couple other items. The menu is not too long. I think I have about 12, 13 things on the item at the moment. And right now we're transitioning. So I was doing dining service with reservation. And now
Mhm.
at the moment, we've transitioned. Due to the labor shortage, it's been hard to find people, especially for a 3-day pop up. People have like 5-day jobs, and I don't want to take them away from their 5-day jobs just to come from a 3-day pop up. But yeah, basically, it's been a road. It's been a long road, and there's many things on the menu is transitioning. Like I was saying, it's going to
Sure.
transition into a tasting menu. So that's what I want to offer is basically a dim sum tasting menu, which I believe in Florida there's none. So I believe we'll be the first dim sum restaurant with a dim sum tasting menu and other items on there. So
Mhm.
from this take now we're doing takeout, and I'm also it's not full service dining, but it's more casual where you can get your order, you can sit down, and you can eat. We just don't have like someone pouring water for you, but we have a stand, we have a station with water and the soy sauces. So you have all these items that you will find in a very fine dining Chinese restaurant, but you'll find it in a pop up. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Well, I have two nephews at home in Miami who are willing to work. So if you have room for them.
No, I might
All
absolutely.
right. You mentioned this before, but what's the favorite dish that most people order at your place?
Right now, for sure, it's gonna be the soup dumpling, the xiaolong bao, the shrimp and truffle pot stickers, and the Shanghai noodles, the cold sesame Shanghai noodles. Those are all every single order that I see. They have all three or one of those for sure.
Gotcha. How important was it for you to include your culture in all the food that you make?
it's very important. Now it's super important to me now because I can relate to it more. It has more meaning to me. In that sense. So that was the whole idea. Was when I landed in Palmar, it was a transition. It was a transition in my career because I was doing this fine. Before that I was doing fine dining Italian, in Fort Lauderdale, and basically it transition. It opened my eyes to what I wanted to do, and it made so much sense because it dealt with my cultures, and it was like a new. I was creating like a new lane, a new style of food that a lot of people, a lot of people love Asian food, and a lot of but Latinos love their Latin food. So I figured out a way where, how can I mix this together where they feel they're getting a little bit of both, and that's when I started to focus on the flavors I love, like culturally, from Cuba, from Colombia, and then the flavors I love as a chef, creating dishes. They could be Chinese or Japanese ingredients, whichever. It's just the flavors I love, and basically creating a unity between them. And that's basically what I've done. And on the tasting menu, it will be more highlighted because since the things are going to be a little more delicate, they will have a little more details. There I'm really like trying to connect it with the dishes with the senses and my history and certain parts of Miami. And it's just not a menu. It has more thought to it.
Awesome. That all sounds delicious, by the way.
Thank you.
And as I said earlier, your spot is definitely on my places to check out this summer. Next time I'm in Miami, which is in a couple of weeks, I'm going to bring my dad so you can meet him too.
Perfect.
Do you have a website or anything like that?
Yes, we have a website. It's www.lisdimsum.com. Lee, L-I. So Lee's Dim Sum, LISDIMSUM.com.
All right. Chef Raymond Li, 1,000 thanks for coming on the show, sharing your story. I do appreciate you and then your time, and you're welcome here anytime.
Thank you for having me, Carlos. God bless you as well, brother. Blessings.
And that's a wrap. Thanks so much for checking out this episode. Don't forget to leave us a review and visit carlostonight.com for the very latest on the show, see upcoming guests, and check out past episodes. That's carlostonight.com.